Welcome to Tea Talks, where young adult stories and church experience blend together into a beautiful insight to inspire us. So grab a cup of tea, sit down, relax as we spill the tea. With me today, I have my good friend Katrina. Katrina, I am so happy that you accept the invitation to come and share a little bit of who you are. So let's start right there. Share a little bit of who you are.
Well, I'm Katrina, and I'm a registered dietitian. I'm very passionate about health and wellness, and I love meeting with people and getting to help them just better their wellness journey.
That is wonderful. I love that. I already know a little bit about you and how much you love Jesus and how much you love sharing Jesus. But tell me, how did it initially, how for yourself, because a lot of times we were raised in the church and you're there just because your parents made you go. How did you first encounter Jesus' message?
Well, I did grow up in a really loving Christian home. We were at church every week, but I grew up in public school, which was sort of frowned upon in the church that I was in. And when I was of college age, I chose to go to a Christian university. And the first time I really encountered Jesus' message was my first religion class. Now, I'm a type A, straight A student, and this is my first religion class ever, other than school and church. And my first professor was a brand new teacher, and I failed my first quiz the first week, and I was totally not following what was going on. And being the way that I am, I went to my computer and emailed every single religion professor in the school to see what I could do. Could I get a different class? Could I learn something else? And only one professor emailed me back, and he invited me to come to his office, and we talked about what was going on, my background, and he told me, Katrina, my class is full. I never add people to my class, but something is telling me that you need to be in my class. So he added me, and it was the life and teachings of Jesus. We studied the gospel, and it completely changed my life.
I took that class too, and I loved that class. Mm-hmm. That class, was a kind of life-changing experience for me as well. What does it mean to you to take Jesus' message seriously?
I think it's, stop overcomplicating it.
Oof.
Jesus loved, and he gave people grace, and he healed, and he met people where they were. And I think if we did that, we would go a lot further in our ministries.
How do you see that looks like in a church? Like practical examples.
Practical examples. Welcoming people into your church. Allowing young adults to be in ministry and supporting them all on their ministry. And inviting them to do things, like not being so exclusive in the extra activities, the socials and things. Bridging a gap.
Yeah. What would you say to the older generation that they're struggling because they're like, I wanted to be involved with young adults. I wanted to invite them over, but they don't seem to want to have anything to do with us. So what would you say to maybe help this gap?
I think the biggest thing is when we are together, just, again, be welcoming and not have any spiritual superiority to the young adult groups. A lot of young adults maybe are less traditional and might be trying to bring more of a contemporary atmosphere, whether it be with the praise team or with a young adult class. And I think just having support, even if you don't like to worship in that way, giving us the opportunity to do it. That way we can be a blessing to other people who like to worship in that way and to share the love of Jesus and to glorify him through music, or even just within our class.
Yeah, I can. I don't know what's going on with my voice today. I'm so sorry. Okay, go back on me. I'm going to start the comment. Yeah, I can absolutely see, because I have been the older generation that did not like a contemporary worship. That was me a few years ago. And for me, what made a change was actually when I got some education. I actually went also to Christian university, a wonderful Christian university, that when I started learning the Bible for myself and I started learning what was man-made tradition, like that idea, holy looks like this, and they put in a little square, and everything that looks anything different, it's not holy, it's not right, it's wrong. So while I had that mindset, I was pushing a lot of young people away. So for me, besides everything that you just said, like get to know them, open up, also sometimes education, like trying to understand really what is something that, hey, this is what the Bible says, and this is, maybe this is just a tradition that I never really paid attention to it, Why do you think the older generation believes that the younger generation does not care about Jesus' message?
I think it comes back to not taking us seriously and thinking that we just want to have fun, thinking maybe we're partying or something like that and we can never take Jesus' message seriously. Well, I'll tell you, I've never partied in my life. And I just want to simplify Jesus' message for other people and to grow the church. I think a lot of people, some older generation, think that growing a church is transferring membership, but if you can't bring new people in, you have no idea what kind of impact you can make on their lives, but you also want it to be a safe environment to not push them away.
Yeah, I do see that bridging the gap is so important. So on one side, we want the older generation to allow young people to participate, to make mistakes, but also what do you see the young adults can do more to bridge this gap?
I think it all comes down to what is your ministry? What are some of your spiritual gifts? And really looking and reading in the Bible of what spiritual gifts are and studying and praying that God shows you what your gifts are so that you can use them for ministry. And then also being bold enough to start it and to not be scared of what others are going to say or some backlash you might get, and really fogging out the negative so that you can push through and go through your ministry and allow God to lead it, not doing it for yourself. I think that's a big one in the church with the older generation is they might think we're doing things to glorify ourselves. That's just from my own personal experience. When really, if I was doing ministry for myself, I wouldn't be doing it. I am very much an introvert and very happy in the background, but getting out of my comfort zone and doing a ministry and being involved in different things, I know that I can make an impact in someone's life and to bring them closer to Jesus.
Yeah, that's one thing that I have noticed too. Sometimes, yes, the younger generation is upset and they have all the right to be with some things that is happening in the church, lack of empathy, lack of empowering them. And then the older generation is mad because, hey, the younger generation is not committed. They're not doing this. The problem is when they're both upset, guess what? Nobody's doing the work. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is important for us to look at both sides. Hey, what is happening here? How can we bridge this gap? How can us church leaders help you guys in this?
I think it also comes down to when you do your church board or nominating committees, so those kind of things, looking at your young adults and seeing who they are and what they do. This past year, I was asked to lead up the Health Ministries Committee, and that's right up my alley. And I'm like nervous about it, but also very excited because I have the educational background and the passion for nutrition and fitness and wellness, and I want to bring a positive light to that, to our church and to our community, and how we can outreach and just get people to be healthier. And I accepted the position because I do think I'm called to do that.
Yeah, and I'm going to say to church leaders that are frustrated, because I'm not going to lie, I had asked so many young people to help me with things, and I got a lot of no's or I got a yes, and they never show up. But I think the secret is, because there is this hostile feeling against the institution, if we don't continue to ask them, I had to continue asking until I found a good group that I could work with, but I didn't give up. So I think those things, allowing them to participate and don't give up. If the first one doesn't say yes, continue, because we can't just say, see, this two didn't work, nobody works, so it's just giving that continuance. And the last question, what would you say to this young person who is struggling to understand Jesus' message, especially because of what other people are doing to them? What would you have to say to this person?
Number one, prayer and growth, your own relationship with Jesus, because that's what's going to help you. The closer you get to Jesus, the more or easier it gets to block out the negativity and to block out the messiness of a church, and to just keep pushing forward and to truly allow God to lead your path. Sometimes he closes a door, and that's okay, but we have to be sure that we are spending time with him daily, growing our relationship with him, and allowing him to lead our path. And with that, I believe he will take us where we're supposed to be, to fulfill our purpose, his plan for our lives, to honor and glorify him.
Yes, well said. And as we pray, God will guide us to the right people, but never give up on God. That's the most important thing. Katrina, thank you so much. I really enjoy having this time spending with you and getting to know you a little better and understanding the struggles and the beautiful and the messiness, because that's the reality. Church is made out of people, so these things are going to happen. We just can't give up on God. Thank you so much, and I hope we can do this again.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And for you at home, thank you for joining Tea Talks. Keep stirring up the conversations and embracing the beautiful and the messiness of life. And until next time.